If you are going to cast me as a mother of a very blonde English girl, let's not pretend I am not Korean. I think we really developed, in the industry. Yeah, it's beautiful that I could be a little stepping stone in that.
Korea's hot, sizzling musical market has major producers from Korea and around the world rushing to put on major shows in Korea and even world premieres. It has also allowed top talents of Korean descent to find their own spot on the Korean musical stage. One such case is our globalist today, Na-young Jeon. Born in the Netherlands to Korean parents, Na-young Jeon has been cast both in Korea and around the world to take on major roles in world-famous musicals like Les Miserables, Miss Saigon, and now Rent.
52만 5,600분의 귀한 시간들 우리들 눈앞에 놓인 수많은 날
We talk about her globe-trotting career and how she came to find her voice and her place on the Korean musical stage. Welcome, Na-young, to the Globalists.
Hello, Jeon. It's an honor to be here.
We are very glad that you're here because it's a very, very busy time for you. You are playing Maureen on Rent.
Yes.
And it starts in the early part of November.
Yes, the 11th of November.
11th of November. And this is the second time. You played Maureen 2020, so
Yes.
that's 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So what is the Maureen that you're playing this time? How is she different from the Maureen of 2020?
Yeah. Well, let's start with the environment. It was COVID time. It was a pandemic. We had no clue what that was.
It was right in the middle of the
Right in the middle. It was when, even in New York, everything was still. No theater was open. Maybe we were one of the only, maybe 2-3 productions running in the whole world. So we felt very privileged to be able to tell this story. We all came in rehearsal rooms with masks on. We did dance scenes with masks on. We actually had no clue if the rehearsal had to be stopped, if shows had to be canceled. So every day was a gift.
This was because Korea was only one of the very few countries.
Yeah.
Probably almost the only
I think
one.
actually I want to say that it was the only one, only country where
these kind of musicals
shows were performed.
Yeah, were performed at all.
That was a very interesting time. One day there were people sitting in the audience like normal, and from one day to another, from my perspective being on stage, seeing the audience, suddenly I only saw white dots, which means masks. Everyone had masks, and it was a scary time, and it really learned us to appreciate every show and every rehearsal day together. And it's very special to be reunited with them again in 2023. We don't need masks anymore, and to be able to tell this story post-COVID,
But that period must have had an effect on you as
Definitely.
a musical actress. How has it changed you?
As an artist, we didn't have as many opportunities, I think. We had to find a different means of living, but also how to spend our precious time. And I decided to hone my craft, master my skills, like really go into the skills of being an actress, and applied for the master degree at K-Arts in Korea, in Seoul.
Which was probably done online at that time, really, was it? Or
I did go in.
You did go in?
Yeah, with masks and all.
Wow.
Yeah. This was a very challenging, exciting time for me because I am Dutch. I was born in the Netherlands. I grew up there. But to be able to speak the Korean language, the language of my ancestors, to to play roles in that language, but also to audition in that language for Korean professors in a Korean institute, a quite wonderful university. Yeah, those were all new experiences for me. Yeah.
But you're a Dutch Korean who's actually had success in the Netherlands and in the West End before you came to Korea. But how did you find yourself in Korea during that very crucial period?
Yeah, I was 25 when I moved to Korea to work and live here for the first time. I had traveled with my family before, just family trips. So being an immigrant, always growing up, being slightly different, looking different, eating different food at home, having a different language, having different ways of showing affection with my parents, having very different values inside the house compared to my very liberal Western friends outside of the house. I think I grew up having a very deep curiosity and fascination about where I'm from, where my parents are from, where my grandparents are from, and then their parents and parents. And I wanted to really dive into what it's like to be Korean. I think maybe, I want to say maybe I had a little bit of an identity crisis, and I think many immigrants have this challenge. So when I got the opportunity to play Fantine in Seoul, it wasn't, I was not going to decline it. Yeah, because to be able to portray that beautiful part, to be a mother on stage in the language that I was mothered in, was so different. So maybe you know, like languages have different characters, right? I speak Dutch, Korean, and English, and to say I love you in English, and then to say I love you, ik hou van jou in Dutch, or say 사랑해 in Korean, they all mean the same thing, but they sort of like strike a different chord inside of you.
How do you, as an artist, express that the difference? I mean, in language, in such a central word as I love you. I mean, that theme comes out on almost all of the musicals.
Yeah, so it was very beautiful to love my Korean daughter on a Korean stage saying 사랑해. It brings back different memories, for example. It's what my grandparents told me when I was young, when my parents told me when I was growing up. And to be able to say that, it just like, it changed me. And I think that was also my research, working in different countries, in different languages. I want to bridge those worlds. I want to bridge those differences. If I could go past the language, yeah.
To really go to the essence of the meaning.
Definitely, exactly. And I think that was also for me the reason why I wanted to experience Korea and explore Korea, because maybe there were different parts in me. The Korean Na-young, the Dutch cool Na-young, and then the English international Na-young. Those were different characters. And over the years, I think I've been able to marry all these people inside of me.
But I have a feeling that when you're in London and when you're in the Netherlands, you're a different person.
No, actually,
you're
not.
not. Oh.
I think if there was a difference, it was when I was in Korea, because I felt like what I've learned from home, know your place. Know your place in the hierarchy. 존댓말.
Yes.
Bow your head. Do not ask too many questions. I think that was difficult for me. So when I first came here in 2015, I really did my best to adapt, to fit in. But now I am just me.
You're probably very, very good right now, and it feels very natural. But back then, you know, when you only knew that from your grandparents in the Netherlands, and you're trying to work with a team, a very Korean team.
Definitely Korean.
In Korea.
Yeah.
How difficult is that? I mean, how did you overcome?
So for people who don't know what it's like to work in Korea, the working culture, it's actually quite a funny episode for me. In the Netherlands or in England, London, when you get into theater or rehearsal room, you say, hi, good morning. Did you sleep well? How are you? Yeah, good. Oh, coffee, I'm tired. Let's get to work, right?
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you're younger, older, man, woman, it doesn't matter. We're all equal. In Korea, I found that first, before rehearsal start, you have to study everyone's date of birth to start with.
Oh, yeah.
So that you know
yeah.
who is my 선배, who is my
Where
후배,
you fit in the whole hierarchy.
who is younger than me,
Hierarchy.
who I can speak just like informally to, who is my same age, who is older than me, even just a year, and I have to bow down. You know what I mean? So then I realized
Definitely
that,
not.
yeah, you have to get into rehearsals, and the first 30 minutes, you are greeting everyone correctly. 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요. 네, hi. Yeah, you know what I mean? And
Yep.
that's how you set up a day. That was very different.
Well,
Yeah.
that's how you sort of make sure they also know your place in the whole hierarchy, and you're set then.
That is true.
Yeah. Another little tidbit about what your stay in Korea meant for you is that I found that you have a fascination for Pansori,
Yes.
which is a very Korean traditional opera.
Yes. I was 4 years old, and at the time there was no internet. There were VHS tapes, you know, those video
yes.
tapes.
You know those tapes.
Yeah. Family friends of my parents, they sometimes sent boxes full of VHS tapes of Korean films, Korean dramas, etc.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, for your family to enjoy
yeah, so
in the far-off Netherlands.
Yes. So then the whole family would gather in our living room. We would put that VHS videotape in, and we would be watching Korean dramas or films that had been on TV in Korea 6 months ago, for example.
Yes.
And that's how in 1993, the VHS that had taped the film Seopyeonje
Yes.
came into my house in The Hague in the Netherlands.
It's the film about the Pansori singer.
Yeah, the lady
yeah.
who goes blind
Yes.
and then gets to connect even deeper with her sound and music. It's a heart-wrenching story, really. My grandmother used to tell me that I was 4 and I watched that film and I started crying and I started just singing along with Arirang. Arirang, 쓰리, 쓰리랑. I just started doing that when I was 4 and I was crying. And we all know that story. It is so heartbreaking, but somehow that story touched a 4-year-old girl. And I cannot explain what happened. Sometimes a miracle happens, but that sort of spoke to me. And since then, I actually started singing, is how the story goes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Pansori is sort of what brought out the singer in you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what my grandmother tells
Well, I'm
everyone.
sure she has a bright recollection of that.
Yeah.
Do you want to let us hear?
Oh my goodness. Then 춘향가.
춘향가.
Okay.
It's not usual that we're going to hear Na-young Jeon, the famous musical actress, sing Pansori.
This is 춘향 singing to her beloved that is very far away and she is missing him. 갈까 아프다 갈까 아프다 님 따라서 갈까 아프다 고개라도 님 따라갈까 아프다.
Oh, that was good. You caught my heart. I don't know about.
Thank you so much, Jie. Thank you.
But it does show
Yeah.
that Pansori is something that really comes from the heart. If you
Yeah.
don't have that, it doesn't work. But you're Asian outside, so in Korea, that has its own set of challenges.
Yeah.
But outside of Korea, does being an Asian artist, is that a pro or a con? How does that affect you being an actress outside of Korea?
As an artist, I think that's where you want to go, that people are maybe casting you in Asian roles. Yes,
you're-
I have played Thai masseuses and all that,
Yeah,
but
you
I
have.
think that's fun too. I must say I've also been very blessed and lucky to have gotten this opportunity in 2013. This was even before blind casting was a thing. Right now, that is a thing. We have a black Ariel, we have a black Christine in Phantom of the Opera. That's wonderful that we are challenging our belief systems. But it was before that time, 2013. And I was a Dutchie in a Korean body playing a French mother on the English stage in London.
Yes.
I mean, how blessed am I?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, how talented must you have been to overcome all of those distinctions about what Fantine must look like or how much she must behave.
Yeah.
That's a very challenging distinction to overcome.
I think we all learned.
Yeah.
We all learned. I learned, the team learned. I was 24 playing that part, and they, the team in West End, had never made a wig for a Korean woman, for Fantine, for example. So listen, I got an almost blonde wig.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was honey colored. And then I'm like, okay, sure, it looks fine, but then what's the whole point of casting me, you know? So
I
we had
know.
really interesting conversations about that.
Oh, my goodness.
If you are going to cast me as a mother of a very blonde English girl, let's not pretend I am not Korean. Let's not pretend that I am not like, you know what I mean? You don't have to put
They could have, colored your face white if that's what they wanted.
Then cast a white girl, but they cast me.
Yeah.
So I think we really developed. I mean, in the industry, the Black Ariel or the Black Christine on Broadway, she doesn't get a blonde wig. On the West End, she doesn't get a blonde wig. They are the way they are, and it's beautiful that I could be a little stepping stone.
Oh,
in
yes.
that
I'm sure
development.
you've opened the door to a number of other Asian
I hope so. That would be wonderful,
talents.
really. Yeah.
Under the sea, under the sea.
I dreamed a dream in time gone by, when hope was high and life was living. And still I dream you'd come to me, that we will live the years together. But there are dreams that cannot bear, and there are storms we cannot weather. I had a dream my life would be so different from this hell I'm living, so different from what it said. Now life has killed the dream.
So you have performed in London, you have performed in the Netherlands, you have performed in Korea.
Singapore.
Singapore, okay. How different are the stages?
The stage is the same. Wherever you go, stories are being told. It doesn't matter where. But then the system is different. So in London or in the Netherlands or in Singapore, I played 8 shows a week, which is very taxing on your body. It is 1 day off, and sometimes 2 days in the week I had double shows, which means you don't really get to have any free time. And even if you have free time, you are spending that time to recharge yourself for the evening show again.
That's hard labor. I mean,
It is hard
It's
labor.
a physically challenging
Definitely.
thing to do.
Yeah. So you need to be very passionate about this to pursue this career, I think. In Korea, there's an interesting thing. It's called double casting. So every part is double cast, sometimes triple cast. The part Maureen that I play now is also portrayed by another lady.
Is that only in Korea?
I've heard in Japan they do the same thing, but nowhere else that I know of. Yeah. So what is really nice about that is because everyone is double or triple cast, they also rotate. So every show is different. It's a different combination of people, which keeps it very fresh for the performers.
So all the main characters are
Yes.
double cast,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah. So the audience will never see the same show twice.
Well,
Yeah. But in London, you have to be very careful to not make it an automated show because it's always the same person. You can always do the same trick or leave the same gap before saying, the next line, and it would just fit in because you start expecting what the other person does. In Korea, you're always surprised and you're on your front feet because yeah.
but isn't that in a way more, I guess, challenging? I mean, you want to sort of feel like, okay, I got it now. I mean, I'm in the groove. I know I have a rhythm. But in Korea, you're never quite in the rhythm because you always are going to be facing a different set of people.
No, it does feel stable enough. We rehearse enough, also in different combinations of people. So I don't think that's a thing. What could be challenging is the competition.
Oh, between the two leading ladies.
Yeah. The audience comes and watches your show and then maybe comes and watches the other person's show and then they have their preference, and if they come and watch it again, I would love them to come and watch me again, but you never know what happens.
True.
But that also keeps us very fresh and on our toes. It's the quality of the shows are as good, or maybe I must say sometimes even better than anywhere else in the world that I've seen. Yeah.
I mean, this kind of casting is one aspect of it. I think that I'm learning now, but worldwide, people are talking about Korean musicals. How the stage in Korea, the musical stage in Korea, how great they are, the audience, and all of that. Why do you think the Korean musical stage has now gotten so much attention?
Korean people living in Korea, we all know our place in the society, which also means that sometimes you have to repress your own feelings. We cannot always show up the way we are, which also has a beautiful side of it, but it's difficult. We get pent up emotions and frustrations and sadness and anger that we do not get to express on a daily basis. So I think that's why Koreans find a lot of comfort in music, films, theater, where performers tell their stories, sometimes even worse or more dramatic, and they don't feel alone, they feel connected, and they feel encouraged, and they feel hopeful. Well, that's what I hope that we can mean to them. But I think especially in a society like Korea, where there are so many dreams, but you cannot speak about them. You have an identity, but you cannot always show up the way you are. Koreans need a lot of comfort and assurance and community. And I think we find that in the arts.
How do you take this kind of passion and energy that you have here? Korea is, of course, one of your countries that you are shining in, but your future lies not just in Korea, but now in London or back at home in the Netherlands, who knows, in New York, in other parts of Asia. How do you take what you've learned and really make it your own, made it your own, take that to other parts of the globe?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. It's actually one of my biggest dreams, always has been, which is to create my own shows. Yeah, and to tell my own story, not being another character, like on these pictures, but just being me, someone who has bridged different cultures and different worlds, different languages. And I would love to tell that story to audiences in Korea, but also back home in the Netherlands, because I think maybe perhaps I could be a doorway of showing other people different worlds. And I want to now get back to our show Rent. The message of Rent is, how are you living your life? How are you giving value to the 525,600 minutes that we have in a year?
Okay.
Is it because of how many stages you have been on, how many friends you have, how much money you earned, you know, all these things. You can measure your life in many different currencies, right? And the message of Rent is, measure your life in how much you loved. Yeah, how much you felt love, how much you loved. So from now on, actually, that is my mission, to go and be with the people and go to the places where I feel like the love can flow as much as I can allow.
It sounds like your heart will lead you to the Netherlands next.
Perhaps. Then the circle will be round. Yeah.
So we are going to look forward to a musical by 전나영 somewhere in the very soon future?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That is something definitely to look forward to. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.
It was an honor for us. So that's it for me. I'll be back next week with another globalist who's putting Korea on the map. Seopyeonje out.